Hi guys, you welcome back to my channel. In today's class, we want to take a look at alcohol. Before we start this video, I promise some students out there who are having issues with some topics as far as organic chemistry is concerned. So today, the first topic we'll be taking a look at is alcohol, which we can also refer to as Alkanol. And one thing you should know as a student out there, that when we are talking about organic chemistry is simple, as I've said in one of my videos, but it is very, very technical because there are certain rules you need to understand as far as organic chemistry is concerned. Be it the naming, be it the formula, be it the mechanism, and as well the physical and the chemical properties of organic chemistry. So today's class will be starting with alcohol, or we call it alkanol. Let's take a look at what we have on the board. Come closer. We have, they are members of organic compounds composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms. They are hydroxyl derivatives of organic compound. And one thing you need to know is that when we are talking about this alcohol or alkanol, and when we are talking about the derivatives of either one hydroxy or two hydroxy, that is, we have to take it back to what we call the classification of alcohol or the classification of alkanol. And one thing as a student or as an undergraduate or a secondary student out there who are coming across this video, you need to understand the fact that those things your tutor or your educator gave in your school, they only limit some students to just two classification of alcohol. But here, I'll expose you guys to the three classification we have. Are you with me now? So guys, when we are talking about this alcohol, there's one thing you need to know about this alcohol is that the general molecular formula is CnH2n plus 1OH. Is that clear now? Look at this place. They said one or more hydrogen by one or more hydroxy. So this one or more hydrogen by one or more hydroxy, we are going to take a look at that under the classification of alcohol. And how can we easily deduce the one that comes is one hydroxy or more hydroxy? So I'll be showing you guys the beauty behind that under the classification of alcohol. So come closer. So we are take a look at classification of alcohol. Mind you, I told you guys that we can easily refer to them as either alcohol or we can easily refer to them as alkanol. We are saying the same thing. So guys, come closer. The first one is alcohol are classified as either primary, secondary, or tertiary. Now, how can we deduce this? One thing you should know is that when we are talking about the primary, we have this. When we are talking about the secondary, we have this. And when we are talking about the tertiary, we have this. Are you with me now? So come closer here. So the first formula you need to know about this primary is this. This is the formula. The second one is this. For secondary alcohol, why the tertiary alcohol, we have this. So this arrow represents alkyl group. Note that, please. The arrow represents the alkyl group. An example of that alkyl group, we have CH3, we have CH3, CH2, we have CH3, CH2, CH2. These are the what? The alkyl group here. So the first formula, the first example or the first formula is I have CH3, I have CH2OH. Guys, this arrow is for this. And why this one here represents the formula. Don't forget that the arrow is always what? The alkyl group. By doing that, this arrow here is the alkyl. This formula you have here, we have two carbon atoms, so we call it ethanol. Ethanol. So this ethanol is a good example of a primary alcohol. Are you with me now? We can as well have this CH3, CH2, CH2OH. If you look look at this place, same thing as what? This. But this is a formula. This represents the R. So we have three carbon atoms, so we call this one propanol. Exactly now. So please, if you come across this video and you are having difficulties on how to identify the primary, secondary, and the tertiary, this video is for you. Is that clear now? So let's take a look at how we can easily deduce our secondary alcohol. Look at how we can as well identify the secondary alcohol. So guys, we have CH3 here. Don't forget, we have to treat it like this. We have CH2 here. We have CH here. We have CH3 here. And we have OH. Are you with me, guys? So now, if you take a look at what you have on the body here, what this one here represents this, which is what? AT, R here, which is this. This as well, we have R here. So, but at the middle, we must show what you have here to represent this. Are you with me now? What you have here must show this as well to tell you that you obey how you can easily identify the secondary alcohol, just the way we serve for the primary alcohol. Is that clear now? So now let's name this compound. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. If you observe vividly, 3 is attached to this OH, but coming to this side now, we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4. So the lowest number here is what? 2. So we can say 4 carbon atoms is what? 4, which is butane. We can say 2, but here it is butan. The number here is what? 2, not 3. Please don't make that mistake. So you can say we have 2 up. Are you with me now? Sorry? You can either we call it butan 2 or we call it 2 butanol. Is that clear now? Either we call it what? Butan 2 or we call it what? 2 butanol. So let's take a look at another example of this secondary alcohol. Okay. Since we have the rules, so we can say we have CH3, CH, we have CH3A, and we have OH. Please don't mind the way you identify your functional group. Is that clear now? So guys, you can say that I have 1, I have 2, I have 3. So we said 2 propanol or propan 2-O. We have 3 carbon atoms, which is what? Propane under the alkane. But here, since we are identifying the alcohol, it will change to what? Propanol, not propane anymore. Is that clear now? And the number attached to that functional group is what? 2. That is the reason why we're having what? 2 under this OH here, which is hydroxy. Make it to be what? 2 propanol or propan 2-O. Are you with me? So now, let's take a look at example of the tertiary alcohol. Now, so we can easily say we have CH3, CH2, C, we have CH3 here, we have CH3 here, and here we can say we have OH. Are you with me now? Or we can choose to write it as CH3 here and OH here. Depend on how you understand the naming of alcohol. Are you with me now? So another example is we have CH3, open the bracket, we have 3, then we have OH. This as well is a good example of alcohol. So now, if you look at this, we have R here for this. This as well is what? R. This as well is also what? R. So guys, looking at what you have on the board here, for this, so you can say we have CH3, C, we have CH3 here, we have CH3 here, and we have OH here. This represents this. So the only thing you need to deduce here is that if you can identify how you can easily deduce the primary alcohol, secondary alcohol, and tertiary alcohol, this particular video is for you, because the first classification of alcohol is that alcohol are classified as either primary, secondary, or tertiary. And we still have two more. The second one is they are classified as monohydric, dihydric, or trihydric. Are you with me now? The monohydric 1-hydroxy, dihydric, we call them, they have 2 hydroxy attached to them. Either we call them the diols or we call them glycols. Why the trihydric they are attached with 3 hydroxy group, which we call them the triols, and the last one is polyhydric. More than 3 hydroxy is attached when it comes to polyhydric. And the last one is the classification of the alcohol. Alcohol can as well be classified as molecular configuration of hydrocarbon portion. I'm sure majority of you have not heard of this before. Again, alcohol can as well be classified as molecular configuration of hydrocarbon portion. The first one is aliphatic hydrocarbon portion. The second one is cyclic hydrocarbon portion, while the last one is heterocyclic or unsaturated hydrocarbon portion. We are going to take a look at that as well. So the next one we'll take a look at is classification of alcohol as either monohydric, dihydric, or trihydric. Are also classified as mono, di, tri, or poly, depending on the number of hydroxy they possess. The first one we'll take a look at was they are classified as primary, secondary, or tertiary. Why the second one is what? They are also classified as mono, di, tri, or polyhydric. So let's take a look at that. The example under that we have, the first one is CH3, CH2, CH2, OH. We have CH2, so I have CH2, we have CH2, OH, CH, OH, and we have CH2, OH, we have CH3, CH, OH, we have CH, OH, we have CH, OH, CH, OH, CH, OH, and we have CH3. So guys, come closer. The first one we have on the board, if you have 1 hydroxy attached to any given compound under this, we call them mono. If 2-hydroxy is attached to any compound under the alcohol, they are identified as di. But if they are 3-hydroxy, that is tri, more than 3, which is the example here, we call them what? Polyhydric. Don't forget, monohydric, dihydric, trihydric, or polyhydric. So we are having 3 carbon atoms here, which is what? Propanol. So how can we name this? We're having 2 carbon atoms. One is here, we also have a 2. This one here attached here affects the OH, which is a functional group. The 2 here also affects the OH here, which is a functional group. And if we have to look at the longest chain, we have 2 carbon atoms. And that with 2 carbon atoms under the alkane is called what? Ethane. So now, how can we name this kind of a compound? So the word I may mention earlier is what? Ethane. You can say you have ethane. We have 1,2-diol. Why do you have it as ethane 1,2-diol? Is because the longest chain is what? Ethane. And we're having 2-hydroxy. So the number attached to that hydroxy there is what? 2. To make it di. So we call it 1,2-diol. So now, guys, we're having longest chain here, which is prop 3. So you number it, you have 1, you have 2, you have 3. So it is propan, or whether I call it propane 1,3-triol propan. So you can say propan 1, 2, 3 triol. This diol, you can also call it glycose. Please take note of that. Why this one is called glycerol? What did I call it? Glycerol. So this one is monohydric. We call this one dihydric. We call this trihydric. And the last one, we call it polyhydric. Now, let's name this. Let's count the number of carbon atoms you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is hept, which is heptane. So we can say we have, let's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you look at the numbers attached to the hydroxy, we have 2. So you can say the longest chain is what? Heptane. You can say heptane. We have 2 attached to this, 3 attached to this, 4 at 5, and 6 attached to this. Now, how many number that is attached to the hydroxy there? We're having 5, because under the IUPAC nomenclature rules of any organic compound, you have to give each substituent an identical, irrespective of how the longest chain is. Are you with me now? So the identical I'm going to give is what? 5. And 5 is what? Tenths. So you can call it heptane 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pentanol. Or pentol. Are you with me now? So you have pentanol. Just like we said, we have propanol, we have tri, or because it is 3-OH. Just like we have diol, because it is 2-OH that is attached to it. And why are we using pentanol here is because it is 5-OH that is attached to the longest chain. But the parent chain is heptane. Don't make a mistake, please. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll call it heptane 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pentanol. That is a good example of a polyhydric alcohol or a polyhydric alkanol. So now let's take a look at the third one. They are classified as molecular configuration of hydrocarbon portion. So which are aliphatic hydrocarbon portion, cyclic hydrocarbon portion, and heterocyclic or unsaturated hydrocarbon portion. Are you with me, guys? So the first classification under this place is they are classified as either primary, secondary, or tertiary, while for the second one they are classified as either mono, di, tri, or polyhydric. But we further extend the classification for those undergraduate students that just resume in any universities in Nigeria. So they are classified as molecular configuration of hydrocarbon portion, which are the aliphatic hydrocarbon portion, cyclic hydrocarbon portion, heterocyclic or unsaturated hydrocarbon. Let's take a look at the examples of each of what we have on the board. For the aliphatic hydrocarbon portion, the first thing we call it alkyl alcohol. We have the alkyl alcohol and the alkyl alcohol. So guys, example of this alkyl alcohol, they have been classified as the aliphatic hydrocarbon portion. You know, when we talk about the aliphatic hydrocarbon, we can easily pick it to the open chain hydrocarbon. Are you with me now? So under the saturated hydrocarbon, which under the saturated hydrocarbon we have alkane, where we also have alkyl group. Are you with me now? So the first compound under the aliphatic hydrocarbon portion is butanol. So we have 2-pentanol, or we call it pen2-in-1-O. If you look at it, we have double bond here. If you look at the numbering, we start the numbering from the functional group. Don't forget, we have 1, we have 2, which is this 2 here, 3, 4, 5. The longest chain is 5. Give us what? Pen2 are the double bond here. Pen2-in-1-O. So the last one is we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 carbon atoms, which is what? Boots. But the numbering will start from the functional group, which is 1, 2, which is this 3, 4, 2 butanol. Are you with me now? Those are the examples of the aliphatic hydrocarbon portion. Majority of the educators out there or your tutors will not show you, because this is more advanced class of the organic chemistry class being demanded by one of our subscribers. Is that clear now? So guys, the next one is cyclic hydrocarbon portion. The cyclic hydrocarbon portion, we have cyclohexanol, we have cyclohexenol, double bond, and we have cyclox2-in-1-O, which is what? 3 full bond. 1, 2, 3. And here we have what? 1, 2 double bond, and here is a single bond. But they belong to the cyclic hydrocarbon portion. So guys, the last one is heterocyclic or unsaturated hydrocarbon portion. The first compound we have here is called 2-hydroxythiene, and the other one is 3. So because if you look at the numbering, start the numbering from 1, 2, 3. We're having 3 here, so 3-hydroxy. Not, if you look at this place now, we'll call it hexanol, but here, because the heterocyclic or unsaturated,
So guys, 3-hydroxy and second one 3-hydroxy because we have a double bond, and here we have 2-hydroxy pyrrolidine, and this last one is the same thing as this, but here we have a double bond, so it's called 2-hydroxy pyrrolide. So guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and before we start this class, we'll take a look at the definition of alcohol, the formula of alcohol, which is 2NH2N plus 2NH2N plus 1 OH, and we take a look at the classification. And I stress that we have 3 classification of alcohol. The first one is they are classified as a primary, secondary, and tertiary, and the other one is 2, which is they are classified as the monohydric, dihydric, trihydric, or polyhydric, while the last one is they are classified as molecular configuration of hydrocarbon portion. The first one is aliphatic hydrocarbon portion, the second one is cyclic hydrocarbon portion, while the last one is heterocyclic or unsaturated hydrocarbon portion. And I gave the example of each of the classification of the alcohol or the alkanol. If you have any question, do well to drop it in the comment box. Thanks. In our next video on alcohol, we take a look at the IUPAC nomenclature of alcohol. Then we look at the mechanism under the alcohol. Thanks.